Have you ever wondered what would happen to your wallet if a major conflict erupted in the Middle East? It's a serious question. A war involving Iran, Israel, and the United States wouldn't just be a regional crisis. It would send massive shockwaves through the entire global economy, and you would definitely feel it. Let's start with the most obvious impact: oil. Iran is a major oil producer, but more importantly, it sits right next to the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is like the world's most critical energy highway. About a fifth of all the oil consumed globally passes through it every single day. If a conflict were to break out, this strait could be shut down, either through military action or by becoming too dangerous for tankers to pass. What happens then? The global oil supply would take a massive hit overnight. With far less oil available, prices would skyrocket. We're not talking about a small jump at the pump. We could see prices double or even triple very quickly. For you and me, that means paying a lot more for gasoline. But it goes way beyond that. Higher fuel costs mean it becomes more expensive to transport everything, from the food in your grocery store to the packages you order online. The cost of manufacturing goods would also rise, because many industries rely on energy. So, get ready for inflation on a scale we haven't seen in a long time. Everything would get more expensive. This oil shock would have a domino effect. Businesses facing higher energy and transportation costs might have to lay off workers to stay afloat, leading to a rise in unemployment. Consumer spending would likely plummet as people tighten their belts, trying to cope with higher prices and job uncertainty. This combination of high inflation and low economic growth is a recipe for what economists call stagflation, a painful scenario that's very difficult to escape. Next, let's talk about global trade and supply chains. The world is more interconnected than ever. A war in the Middle East would disrupt shipping routes far beyond just oil tankers. The Suez Canal, another vital artery for global trade, could also be affected. Insurance costs for shipping in the region would soar, making it incredibly expensive to move goods. Companies that rely on parts or products from that part of the world, or even those whose products just pass through the area, would face huge delays and costs. We saw a glimpse of this during the pandemic, with supply chain chaos. A major war would be that, but on steroids. Shelves could become empty, and getting everything from electronics to car parts could become a long and expensive waiting game. Then there's the financial markets. Markets absolutely hate uncertainty, and war is the ultimate uncertainty. As soon as a conflict looks likely, we'd probably see a massive sell-off in stock markets around the world. Investors would pull their money out of stocks and rush towards safe haven assets like gold and the US dollar. This could wipe out trillions of dollars in wealth from retirement accounts and investment portfolios. The global financial system, already fragile in some areas, would be put under immense stress. Of course, the direct cost of the war itself would be astronomical. We're talking about hundreds of billions, if not trillions, of dollars spent on military operations. This money has to come from somewhere. For a country like the United States, it would mean a massive increase in government debt. This could lead to higher taxes in the long run, or cuts to other essential services like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Developing countries that rely on international aid might see that funding dry up as donor nations redirect their budgets towards the war effort, pushing millions of people into deeper poverty. The human cost, which is the most important, also has a profound economic dimension. A conflict would create a massive refugee crisis. Millions of people could be displaced, seeking safety in neighboring countries and beyond. This would place an enormous strain on the resources of host nations, creating social and economic instability across the region, and potentially in Europe as well. Rebuilding after the war would take decades and cost trillions of dollars, a burden that the international community would have to bear. In a globalized world, no country is an island. A war between Iran, Israel, and the US would trigger a cascade of economic crises. We'd face soaring energy prices, crippling inflation, disrupted supply chains, financial market chaos, and a staggering humanitarian and reconstruction bill. It's a stark reminder that peace is not just a political ideal. It is the fundamental bedrock of our global economic prosperity. The consequences would be felt by everyone, everywhere. Thanks for watching, and if you found this insightful, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into global topics.